Hi everyone. Welcome back to the problem solving C using C in this course. Uh, in this course, we will be discussing input-output functions, and also we'll discuss types of the preprocessor, types of the preprocessor. Okay, so input-output function. So what are the input-output function? We'll be using it in a C programming language, and the types of preprocessors. There are different type of. You already know that what is a preprocessor. What are the types you will be seeing in this video? Okay, let's jump into the detail. Okay, so input function, output function, right? Input output function. Here it is there is a printf function. A printf function is comes under, it is a predefined function which is comes available under the library or header file stdio.h. So this uh, standard input output header file, right? So thus it display the output on standard output format or mostly to the monitor, right? It is a user friendly, it is gives the message to the user. Based on that message it will be oct, right? So that is a message and value of variable can be printed. Let's see how example of printf will work using it in a programming language. Look at this is a syntax printf. Any message you wanted to print it to the screen or to the user mode. So we have to put it in the double quote, right? So followed by semicolon. So suppose I want to print the hello world. We have to print the message hello world. I will put it printf. It is a lowercase letter. Always you have to use the. It is a very case sensitive. All of them are say all keywords are in the lowercase. You have to use them, right? Within that double quote you write whatever the message you wanted to print it, you can print it, right? So if I want to print some variable values, right, since it is a d, it is a this nothing but the percentage d is nothing but you call this axis specifier. So conversion type, you can say conversion type. Suppose if you want to modulus d, it has to print the integer value. So C has some value of type integer, it will be printed. In this case C has value 15, right? It will print 15. Okay, so another example is I want to print so some of the sum value, then this sum will be stored in C and its type is integer. You have to use, this is a standard syntax you have to use to print the value to the screen. Use the axis specifier, or not is an axis specifier, converter, axis converter, that is means you convert into integer. And this is also, there are three variable values you wanted to print it. How do you do that? So because I am adding what is the value of A with the value of B, then store it in C, right? This value will be stored, A and B will be added automatically based on its conversion type and stored it in C. That value will be printed like this. Okay, you can use like this, right? Need not to add A and B in explicitly outside then print C. You can add it directly. I can use any operation within this side, within the code, can print it directly, right? So then another function using input function. So far you have seen output function printf. Scanf. How to use the scanf in a DC programming language, which is also comes under standard input output header file. So function it is used to read the character or a string and numerical data from the keyboard, right? Any data you wanted to read it, want to input to the program, you have to print it, read the data from the keyboard. How you read? How do you read it? Read it using the scanf function. Syntax of scanf function is like this. I want to read the variable. I given a variable value while you are entering a value variable 10. So I wanted to read it and store it in the variable address of that variable, which is the x, right? You have to, I'm reading it. This x is nothing but is a d, right? Is a anything else is format specifier. So far, I'm sorry, I'm using a axis specifier. It is a format specifier. So format specifier. So this indicate the format specifier. Either your data reading from the keyboard, either integer or a double, float, character, string. Depending on that, you can use the format specifier, which tells the compiler what type of data is in variable. So, and the ampersand sign is here refer to the address of the variable, which is always store this value variable value in the particular address. That address is indicated by using operator. This is a special operator. You can call this a ampersand sign. So input value to address written by variable. Look at this. This is an integer. This is a format specifier. These are the format specifier. You are using it in your C programming. Whenever you want to inputting an integer, you can use the percentage %d. Whenever you want to input the floating value, that is the percentage %f, character percentage %c. If you want to input the string, you can use that. So these are the example. Accepting integer values such as these are the values, floating, character, and integer values. Alright, sorry, it's a string data type. So you can do like this, or the format specifier, you can use it. So you need not to mug up this. You have to practice 2 to 3 times how to use the scanf printf in your program. So these are all not a logic. These are the syntax to use them in your program. So don't we feel it? I'll told you whatever I explained so far, all it is related to the C program. It is a prerequisite for writing any program. So you have to be remember all the syntax, how to use them in your program. Then only you can crack the logic of the program. So logic of the problem. So logic. So this are all it is implicit. So I'll give one example like this, analogy like this. Without knowing it, without knowing the alphabets or alphabets of the ABCD or character grammar, you are not able to frame the sentence. Right? Sentence is nothing but a logic. That is a problem. So if you know the grammar properly, you can know the English writing, you can able to frame the situation. If you give it, you can able to write your own sentence. So like that also, if you know all this ingredient or it is useful of this syntax, what are the operators are using, what is the syntax are using, how to print them, how to read the data from the keyboard, this all it should be in your fingerprints, fingertips, right? So that is very very important. Okay, the how it will come, you have to practice again and again. So it will not comes in a one day. You have to be practice every day, one or two uh, function can use them in your simple problem. So later on it will become very say used to it in your program. So that becomes a practice. Without knowing your knowledge, it will be in your mind. Okay. So there is scanf is over. Let us see some other special function. So there is a getchar and putchar. Getchar, if your name itself is indicating, if you want to read a single character from the terminal. Terminal means it is any console or it is a keyboard. So put character function display the character passed to it on screen. You want to display the output to the monitor. Look at this. There is correspondingly one program having taken here for example purpose. We have added the preprocessor here. That why you are adding it as stdio.h. Stdio.h is a preprocessor. This will be get all the inbuilt functions. There is a printf, scanf, and getchar, right? So here it is. I'm declared one of the variable. It's type char c, and this is a printf function. How do you use it? So I need to understand what input has to give, right? What value I entered it. Enter a character. This will be printed to the screen. So user will read it. This based on that will give a input, right? Then that whatever input as you are entered, it will be stored. It will get it directly from this terminal and store it in C. And correspondingly, I wanted to see how to use whatever value has to display it. Instead of using the printf statement, you can use the put character. Put character and entered character is put character C. Directly can print the value to the screen. Okay, I hope you understand this concept. So there is enter a character, I entered it, and enter character I printed using the putchar function, getchar function. I think you understand these two functions, how to use them in a function. So usually always you are using it printf scanf function, which is special function without using any format specifier, can directly printing it and get a value from the terminal. So I think hope you understand this all. The flexibility is available, the functionality is available. You can use them in your program. It is your convenient which one you can use it, which can could use it for your program, and which is better depending on your style of program writing, right? Then another two types, another two functionality, get s and put s. You need to read the string and print the string. Gets function reads the line from standard input line, uh, line into the buffer. I want to read the data. I've stored it in the buffer by using by until either terminating new line or end of line. You can use the inbuilt function called end of line. So that is end of line. So look at this. Put function writes the string s and a trailing new line to standard output. These are the two function available under this std in and std out. So how do you use them? So again, as usual, I have taken some example here. Void main, it is a entry point of view. I have explained in my previous video. If not understood this, how to use this void main and preprocessor, go and check those videos, right? So structure of C program. This will be the entry point. So I have character array of length 100. So what is the character char? As the string of array as declared here, its type is char. What is the size of this array? That is 100, and you can 100 character you can stored in that variable array variable str. Enter a string. I'll get the I'll enter array of string, array of characters, which will store it in a str. So you need not to use any of that for loop to print each and every character. You can directly print it, will read it directly, and gets that str, whatever the characters are there in that str, display it, right? Gets str, enter string s, puts str. So this way you can any character, the entire sentence. Suppose if we enter this kind of entire string, it will store it in str. Then if you print this str, put ss, use it. Okay, I think this also will get understood, right? Let's move to the next topic. Okay, so look at this. Given India, I'll press then. So as you told, there is preprocessor. You know already what is preprocessor. Preprocessor is a predefined directives which you have to implemented in while designing a compiler itself. You can use them directly in your program, right? So there is preprocessor a program. You can say it is a program that processes our source code before compilation. So there is you are written all this program directly in this preprocessor. This code, written code, will be not be executed before to the preprocessor. Preprocessor will be executed first, then this part user defined program will execute, because whatever that function is available in this will execute and kept it for using your program. So they all of them you can use it in your program. There are number of steps involved between the writing a program and executing a program in C. So it is a sequential program execution. Let us have a look at these steps before actually start learning about the preprocessor. C programs will be like this. C program, yeah, are there preprocessor directives? If at all it is a directories or preprocessor included in your program, yes, it will be execute. It will not execute it directly compile your program. if it is included, preprocessor perform action first, then it will go to the compiler. So in case your preprocessor not in the program, it will directly compile your code, right? If not, sometime will not require any of the preprocessor in your simple program, in that case you can directly compile it. In case your preprocessor are added, that will execute it first, then it will go to the compiler. So that is, compiler will convert this into object code, then linker will come, then execute the executable code will be generated. So what is an object code? Object code is a intermediate representation. These are all at this time not required, just you will understand when compiler convert from the higher high level language to low level language. So why are you using a linker? Linker is a kind of linking your multiple function, because all that multiple function will be stored in a different location. It has to create the link and execute it sequentially. So that is the major task of linker, to multiple function will be linking together to execute the code. Okay, then once you understand the types of processor, how processor is preprocessor are executing, so let us understand now types of preprocessor. There are four main types of preprocessor directives. Okay, so one is macros, the file inclusion, conditional compilation, then other directives. So there are four main types of preprocessor. Usually you all know this already. File inclusion and macros and other directive you didn't see at all. You can see them, each one of them. Okay, macros is a fragment of code. As a macro, you are writing directly code and included at the preprocessor place, which has been given a name for it. Whenever the name is used in the program, it is replaced by that content of that macro. So because it reduces the complexity of the program. So entire program you return it in your directly in your program, it will increase the complexity and readability will become complex. So instead of writing like that, a fragment of code you can write it, or a part of some code you return it, and you can kept it somewhere and the folder, or you used it in the beginning itself. That will be whenever you wanted, give us some name for it, that macro name, use that macro name in whenever you want it, it will replace the entire content of the macro. So macro definition are not variable. Definitions are not variables. It cannot be changed by your program code like a variables. Is it the, how do you define the macros? Macros can use the directive. So hash define is used to define the macro. Do not put a semicolon like your variable. You have to use as defined. There is no semicolon at the end of the macro statement. There are two types of macros. One is object like macros. Another one is a function like macros. Object like macros, because object, you create one of the variable, store that value. Instead of creating using that variable again and again, can define at the beginning and use whenever you want it in your program. So that is object like program. Look at that. You can understand this concept through example. Definition: object like macros is an identifier that replaced by value. The function like macros look like a function call. You are calling that function, entire function, return it and give a one name. Then I have included in the preprocessor place. You can use that whenever you want it. So use it is, how do you use that? It is used to represent numerical constant. It is used to represent the function. So there is a, it is used like a function. It is a constant. It is used like a function. So what is the syntax? Hash define the name as given for the variable value. So here it is give the define the macro name, and within that I have given the expression. Example: hash define pi 3.4 or 3.14. So this value will not change it. Whenever you want pi, include it at the beginning, then you can use it whenever you want it. Right? This is So this is like a function. Whenever you, what is a macro name? Min a comma b. So this will be tested whenever you call this function in your program. You'll need not to write this code in any of your program. Just call mine and passing that value. This will be execute and return the result. Okay. So look at that. The real-time example like this. So object like macros like this, and define pi 3.14. I'm calling into here calculating area of circle pi r square. So there is pi value as calculated already defined. It is a constant numerical value. Will be multiplied by taking that value directly, and r is given value and printing it, right? This way you can use it. So instead of using that value directly, you can define it in a pi value. Globally you can use it any of your program, and function like macros like this. So include, yesterday I have to define this macro. Okay, so then I'm calling this function whenever you want it. So there is passing these two value, and this will be calculating, right? So there is evaluating this expression. Obviously a less than b, then a value will be printing it. When a is not less than b, the b value will be printing it, right? So that is directly